Hello, everyone. I'm Gerbils for Life, and welcome to a NFL tier team ranking list. So these ones are pretty interesting. I always like doing these ones. I mean, these teams are changing so much. A lot of them are really interesting. A lot of them are unknown. I mean, it's pretty early to be making something like this for the season, but we're doing it anyway. So we're gonna start off with the Tennessee Titans, who I think honestly are not that good. I mean, honestly, I probably overrate Marcus Mariota in my mind, but I know that he's not that great. I got to put them at a C tier team. I mean, it's a really tough division. You got the Colts, and you can never count out the Texans' defense. And, of course, the Jaguars are trash. So I got to put the Titans at a C team. We just got to see how they play. Obviously, they're one of those teams that could surprise us and turn into a playoff team, but honestly, I don't just expect it, and I can't rank them anything above average for now. Now we get into the Dolphins, who are just terrible. I mean, they're a D team. They have terrible management, just an overall terrible roster. I can't say anything good about this team other than they acquired Josh Rosen for a surprisingly cheap amount, just a middle second round pick. I think that was a great decision because their other option is Ryan Fitzpatrick. And now that they've shipped off Ryan Tannehill to go be a backup in Tennessee, this team really needs to step up if they want to turn into anything other than absolute garbage. But obviously, with the Patriots in their division, they're just not, don't have any hopes of turning into a playoff team, and pretty much anyone knows it. I mean, I don't really need to explain now, do I? Now, the Browns are a really interesting one. Honestly, I have to rank them at. It's really tough between A or B here with the Browns. Obviously, there's a lot of talent on their roster, but considering that they had a negative record and missed the playoffs last year, they're just not proven enough. Obviously, starting Baker Mayfield right away, he did pretty well, but I feel like they did have a great offseason and a great draft, and John Dorsey's a great guy. And obviously, this is a much better team than it's ever been, really. But I think they might be a playoff team, but I just don't feel comfortable making such an unproven team at an A tier, so maybe people might not like it, but I gotta rank them at a B. And here we have the Jaguars. Honestly, I'm not a believer in the Jaguars, but I can't quite rank them at a D tier because their defense is still solid. And Nick Foles is definitely an upgrade from Blake Bortles. He provides the consistency that they need. If he can stay healthy and play like he has been over the past couple of years, I think he can be a very solid starter for the Jaguars, which is why I can't rank them at a D tier. And we're going to go with C tier for the Jaguars. Sorry about that. All right, now we move on to the Lions, who are honestly between D and C, but I gotta rank them at a C tier as well. Honestly, Matt Stafford is above average as a quarterback. They have a little bit of talent on this team with people like Darius Slay. Their offseason wasn't too bad, but it's a really tough division. I can't rank them at a D team because I just don't think they're that terrible, but I honestly can't see them making the playoffs. I don't know if I can see them having a 500 record. We got to see how they play, but honestly, I don't know if they'll play that well, so I'm going to rank them at a CT for now. And here we have the Vikings, another NFC North division, who I got to rank much higher, but not at an A. Kirk Cousins, again, he's decent, but he's not that great. I wouldn't rank him as an elite quarterback. I'd rank him above average. I would not rank him as borderline elite or elite, however. I got to put the Vikings at a B team. They have a strengthened offensive line. They had an alright draft. And I feel like there's some decent general managing here to turn this team into possibly a wild card team or even a division clinching team if they can play well. I feel like some of their pieces need to step up, maybe a little bit of overperforming, but it's not, the timeline wouldn't be too far from our own for them making the playoffs. And I feel like we just got to see next year, and I'll be kind of excited to see how the Vikings play because there's definitely some talent here. And now we move on to the Buccaneers, who are another interesting one. I don't want to rank them anything that isn't terrible. The Buccaneers, I mean, I don't know if I really have to explain it. They're a D team. There's almost no talent here. I mean, they lost some key pieces, and they didn't have that great of an offseason or a draft. Jameis Winston, I just don't think is an elite quarterback. I don't know if he's their franchise quarterback. As we're heading into year 5 of the Winston era, we still don't know if he's going to be their franchise quarterback. And there's still a lot of question marks on the team. I can't put them anything higher than this because I just don't think they can perform well enough to be a professional caliber team. So I got to rank them here at a D tier, but there is excuse me, there is a lot of room to improve if this team can step up. I don't see playoffs for them, but again, if they really play well, they might be able to make something happen within the next couple of years. Now, the 49ers, again, if Jimmy Garoppolo can stay healthy, this is a big boost for them. And they have enough talent on their roster to be a C team instead of a B team, but I can't rank them any higher. They're in a tough division with the Rams. Obviously, you can never count out the Seahawks. Obviously, the Cardinals are trash, but still, it's a tough division. I don't really see playoffs for them, and Jimmy Garoppolo, it just might not be proven enough, and I don't know if they can stay healthy enough again, and I just don't know if they have enough talent to be an elite team, so I gotta rank them at a C for now, but we'll just see what they can do. Now, the Falcons, I can't resist ranking them at an A tier. There's just so much talent. There's so many big playmakers on this roster. I mean, I feel like, at the end of the day, you got Matt Ryan, and you still got so many pieces on offense and defense. I mean, Alex Mack, Julio Jones is amazing. You gotta love Devonta Freeman. I mean, again, there's just so much talent on this roster for a team that went to the Super Bowl just 3 years ago. I wouldn't be surprised if they got into the playoffs, but again, it's just a question if they can stay healthy. They had a decent draft, and that's just the big question, is if they can stay healthy. I feel like if they can take their division. Everyone says the Saints are really good, but honestly, I think if the Falcons can stay healthy, they can take the division. And now we have the Ravens, who they lost some key pieces. Obviously, gaining Earl Thomas was a big one, but they also lost C.J. Mosley. They lost longtime playmaker Terrell Suggs. I gotta put them at a B tier. I don't think I can rank them any higher than that, but I think there's enough talent here that I can't rank them any lower than that. I mean, if I had to do this for quarterbacks, I'd probably put Lamar Jackson at the same place, around a B. I just need to see how they play, but I wouldn't be surprised if they turn themselves into a playoff team in a division. Well, the only competition really in this division would be the Browns right now. So we'll just have to see how they play, but they could be a wild card team. They could be a playoff team. We'll just have to see. And here we have the Chicago Bears, who I feel like overperformed a little last year. I think a 12-4 season is a bit of a fluke, but I gotta rank them. I gotta rank them at a B tier. I feel like some people might not like me doing this because they're just a very talented team. They kept all their key pieces on defense, and their running back addition is just way better than Jordan Howard. Well, it fits them better than Jordan Howard, I would say. Mitchell Trubisky, he looked pretty solid last year, but if he can learn how to throw the ball much better, they can have a great next year, but I honestly just don't feel comfortable putting this team in an A tier. I feel like last season was a bit of a fluke, but they could still be a playoff team, even though it is a rather tough division. And here we have the Bengals, who we're just going to put at a D. I mean, pretty much everyone puts them at a D when you watch these tier list videos, and I have to agree with them. There's just not enough talent on this team. I mean, just their defense continues to be mediocre at best. They have talent, but it's just not working. And obviously, Andy Dalton just is not their quarterback. I mean, they seem to be liking to going without Andy Dalton, and I just don't see why. I don't think he's an elite quarterback. I don't think he's an average quarterback. I don't think he can step up for them. And I don't think the Bengals have it next year. I don't know if they'll do worse than their record last year of 6-10, but I don't think they'll be any better than it. And here we have the Cowboys, who I probably overrate over most people, but I have to put them in an A tier. I just feel like Zeke and Dak Prescott and Amari Cooper, who is a huge addition. There's just a lot of talent on this team, and I know that their division includes people like the Redskins and not the 49ers, the Giants, who are both terrible. And I feel like if the Eagles can't stay healthy, the Cowboys could easily take the division, maybe by far. And I feel like I would see them making the playoffs possibly next year, and maybe even making a Super Bowl run. I would be a little surprised at that, but again, there's just a lot of talent here, and I can't really rank them as an average team, but I can't give them an S tier either. Now the Texans, I would gladly give a B tier to. B or C. I gotta go with B. You can never count out the defense, and this team could always surprise you. I don't know about Deshaun Watson, but it looks like he's going to be their starting quarterback for the next few years, so at least they have some consistency there. And they had their draft was okay. They tend to be pretty good at drafting, and I think if they can make sure they keep all their defensive players, which it looks like they have, Obviously J.J. Watt, needs no explanation. Neither does Whitney Merciless if he can stay healthy. Jadeveon Clowney, of course. And DeAndre Hopkins continues to be one of the better receivers in the NFL. You could just never count out the Texans. Even though they are in a tough division with the Colts, who I may be overrating them because they're my team, but I have to put them at an S tier here. I just love what the Colts are doing. They had such a great draft. Chris Ballard, he just really knows how to draft. They're only getting better. Andrew Luck, if I'm a Colts fan, which I am, I'm really behind Andrew Luck. He is just a great quarterback, total stud, and they just have so many other studs on this offense and defense. One of the better defenses and offenses in the NFL. If they can work on their man coverage, obviously I see them making the playoffs next year, but I wouldn't be surprised at a Super Bowl run. I just see big things out of the Colts. They just got to get through the Chiefs and Patriots in the AFC, but I think they can be one of the top tier teams in that conference. As with the Rams in the NFC, who I also got to put at an S tier, Jared Goff is kind of being carried by the team, but they just work so well together. Sean McVay is a great coach, and if Jared Goff can improve, which he has been doing, they can be even better than last year. I feel like they could make another Super Bowl run if they really tried, and if a couple people stepped up. Obviously, if Todd Gurley can get through his knee issues, they could easily be an S tier team and maybe make another Super Bowl run. And now we have the Chargers, and we have 3 good teams in a row because the Chargers are going to get an A tier for me. I don't see them making a Super Bowl. I feel like Phillip Rivers is a little too late in his career to be doing that. There's just so much talent on this defense, and especially on their secondary and safeties, cornerbacks, all kinds of people in the slot. I think this defense is going to be scary next year. Definitely another one of the top tier teams in the AFC. And I suppose they could be trying for a Super Bowl run, but again, it's a tough conference. I just don't think they'll be able to slip in, but they're still a very solid team in a very solid division with the Chiefs. And I got to rank them at an A tier too. I know they have Patrick Mahomes, who I believe is also an elite, if not borderline elite guy. And maybe, he was probably the best quarterback in the NFL last year with those 50 touchdowns. Nothing to sneeze at. I just think they lost too many weapons to be an S tier team. They lost some defensive guys. They gained some defensive guys, but the loss of Justin Houston to the Colts, Eric Berry, it's just they've lost too many weapons for them to be an S tier team. But look out for them in the playoffs because I believe they'll be there again if they can get through the Chargers. Now we have the Saints, who I have to rank at an A tier team. I don't feel comfortable ranking them up here at an S tier team. Their cornerbacks are struggling a little. Eli Apple is playing all right, but other than that, they've got some problems there. Drew Brees, I feel like, is just getting too old. I just don't know. The Saints, the last 2 times they've been to the conference championships, they've had, the Minnesota Miracle. They've had the no call. I don't know if luck's on their side. And, aging Drew Brees, aging team. And, I just don't know if they can pull it off. And I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they can take their division if they can get through the Falcons. But, if they can stay healthy, again, great team, but I don't see them making a Super Bowl, and I can't rank them at an S tier for that. Now, the Giants, finally, we have another D tier team because the Giants are just terrible. I don't really think I need an explanation. I don't really know what they were thinking in the draft. They didn't really get any better with the offseason. Eli Manning's only getting significantly worse. There's just no talent here, and the defense continues to be really terrible, so I can't rank them anything higher than this. I think if there was something below D, I would probably put them there, along with the Dolphins. And the Eagles are a different story. I gotta put the Eagles at an A team, we'll put them at a B team, because, I don't know if they can stay healthy, but there's so much talent on this roster that if they don't underperform like they kind of did last year, and if guys like Carson Wentz can stay healthy, they can have a great season, but I don't know about that. The Cowboys are a tough team, and it's just going to be hard for them, but I think they can sneak in with a wild card team or take their division if they do play well like they did 2 years ago, winning that Super Bowl and all. And I think that's about all I have to say with the Eagles, but you can never count them out, but you can never count them into tiers like S or A. And now we have the Steelers, who I have to rank at a B tier again. I feel like this is a little high with them losing Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. I don't know how Juju Smith-Schuster, their new number one receiver, is going to do in the outside routes. He's more of a slot guy, I think. I don't know if he's as great. He's definitely not as good as Antonio Brown. And I mean, with an aging Big Ben, I suppose there's still some talent on this team, but their defense is still just okay. And I don't think they can make the playoffs this year, as they missed it last year. And I mean, I don't see them improving. Their draft was okay, but they haven't added any big pieces that I know of. And I don't think they'll be able to perform when it comes to play football. But at the end of the day, Big Ben's always a great guy, at football at least. So we'll just have to see how they play. As with the Broncos, so I'm going to have to rank at a C tier team. I don't think they're terrible enough to be D. Joe Flacco, I just don't like, especially not, switching teams and all. He's aging, and I don't know if they got too much better with the offseason. The draft was all right, but I just don't see them. I definitely don't see them being a playoff team with teams like the Chiefs and the Chargers in their division. If they overperform, they might be able to get a 500 record, but I can't rank them any higher than a C tier. We'll just have to see how they play. Again, I'll be interested to see what the Broncos do this coming season. And now you have the Packers, so I got to rank in another B tier team. And, I mean, you can't overlook Aaron Rodgers, who is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He underperformed a little last year, as did the rest of the team, but there's just enough talent on the defense. Again, you still have guys like Clay Matthews, and I think, there's enough talent here that they could make a playoff run. It is a decently tough division, but I feel like they can take it if they really try. A little bit of overperforming. If some guys step up, they can be a really solid team next year. And now you have the Panthers, who I gotta rank as a C team. We don't know if Cam Newton's gonna play next year. He has some injury problems. He's just a big question mark. I don't know if they have enough talent on their roster to carry their backup quarterback. I forget his name. Will Grier. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I don't know if they can carry him into the playoffs. I don't think they can. And maybe they'll be able to carry him to a 500 record, but I don't think there's that much talent on this team. So if they can't get Cam Newton to play, they might be a D tier, but if they can, they might be a B tier. I mean, again, it's just a big question mark because Cam Newton being a question mark. So we're going to make them a C tier team for now. And almost done now, we have the Raiders, who I'm going to rank as a D tier team. Don't think we need much explanation there. They're just terrible. Redskins, we're going to put them in a C tier team. They're just not that great. Dwayne Haskins, I kind of believe in him. He's promising. Case Keenum, I don't know about him, but we have some quarterback switch-ups, but I feel like there's enough talent on this team that it's not going to be too terrible, but it's not going to be good either. Okay, well, anyway. I mean, I don't think the Redskins can do much next year. I mean, it's just some quarterback switch-ups. They're kind of a question mark. I'll be interested to see how they play as well, but I don't think they can take the division. There's some key teams in this division, the Cowboys and the Eagles. It's just going to be interesting, but I don't think they'll make the playoffs next year. Neither with the Cardinals, who I gotta rank at a D team. There's just no talent on this roster. I mean, Kyler Murray, we don't know how he's going to play. It's a big question mark. I mean, there's just, Bruce Arians, they lost to him, and... Cliff Kingsbury. I cannot talk today. Cliff Kingsbury is going to be their head... It's just really tough. A lot of switch-ups, a lot of mashing up. I just don't know if they can perform under all this stress. I mean, 3-13 last year, worst record in the league. I mean, I don't see them turning that around too big. Kyler Murray, completely unproven. Now, the last Oklahoma quarterback, Baker Mayfield, turned out okay, but we're going to see. As with the Bills, honestly, I'm a believer in Josh Allen, but I don't think he's an elite quarterback yet. I think he's average or above average, maybe. And I think that there's not enough talent on the rest of this team to carry them to a playoffs. Maybe a wild card, but obviously with the Patriots, I don't think they're going to take it. So it's just going to be interesting, again, to see how they play. But, I mean, I just don't know. Saquon Barkley is decent. Other than that, though, I mean, I can't even really think of any big pieces on this team. I'm sure they have some all-around nothing is too terrible, but nothing is too good either. It's a little bit questionable what they're going to do next year, but I'll be interested to see for certain. Now, the Seahawks, I gotta also rank in a B tier because Russell Wilson, they just paid him a ton of money, and he is a decent quarterback, maybe even elite. But they've lost so many key pieces over the last few years. Earl Thomas recently to the Ravens, and I just don't know if they can keep it up. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs. They might underperform. They might get hit by the injury bug. There's just so many problems that could hit them next year that I can't rank them in an A tier, but there's enough talent on here. Russell Wilson is so great that I can't rank them anywhere lower. So we're going to put them average for now. And the Jets, I got to put them in a C tier. I like Sam Darnold, but he hasn't really played on the field as well as some people might have hoped. And he has the good attitude for the game, but he just might not have the skills to be their franchise quarterback. Obviously, there's a lot of mashing up here. There's not too much talent. Now, they did make some huge offseason moves, gaining Le'Veon Bell, C.J. Mosley, guys like that are huge playmakers for the team. But I don't know if they'll be big enough playmakers to carry them to playoffs. And obviously, with the Patriots in their team, their division, I just don't see them doing anything huge next year, so I can't rank them above a C tier. And finally, the Patriots. I know everyone will want me to rank them as a B tier or the A tier because Gronk retired, Brady's aging, but the Patriots just make the Super Bowl every year. We always say, oh, there's so many problems with the Patriots, and then they just win the Super Bowl again. I can't say anything about, until Brady and Belichick are both gone and out of there, I can't rank them anything below an S tier. I think they'll probably get to the AFC Championship. I think there's a decent chance they're going to win the Super Bowl. If they can get through the Chiefs or the Colts, it's just easy for them, and they're used to success. They're used to the playoffs. They're always a dangerous team, and they're so good at drafting that, honestly, I think they might as well just be good forever until they lose pretty much everyone. It's going to be tough, but I see them taking the division, obviously. It's a pretty terrible division. And honestly, I just don't see them pulling anything bad this year. They lost Gronk, obviously, but still, it's the Patriots, and we're just going to have to accept that. They'll probably just win the Super Bowl again. And, well, that's about it. I hate to end on the Patriots, although I am sort of a Patriots fan. I probably shouldn't have said that. But there you go. That is my NFL tier list for Gerbils for Life. That's just my opinion. Again, if you think differently, I guess say so in the comments. But those are my personal thoughts, and thank you for watching.